Hello, everybody. Welcome on our Tuesday tap room. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And first thing I wanted to ask you is whether you can hear me well and see the picture well. If you could please answer to that in a question box, I would very much appreciate it. Okay, great. So, yep, this is going to be about two-node hyperconverged in Vmware environment. And our next slide will speak about the event I announced in my previous taproom. Not sure if anybody else told you guys about it, but either way, there's going to be this thing one more time. Or not one more, but it's going to be, I guess, until April 18th. So this is the event we have, and you can write a cool story, forward your article to the email you see on your screen before March 31st, and then the voting will be open until April 15th, and on April 18th we'll announce the winners. So if you have some cool stories, feel free to send them and win $500. It's pretty easy to me. Let's get on to our tap room. This is not very interesting. This is the banner you all saw when you signed up for this webinar, so we'll simply move on. That's me. I'm Olis Boris. I'm a senior solution engineer at StarWind Software, and I like my job and like having the opportunity to speak to you all. So let's start talking about some interesting stuff. This is a slide we're gonna stop for some time. So quick overview of the topics: configuration of StarWind Virtual SAN for VMware. I heard you guys asked me to repeat maybe or just go through everything in details. So I decided to make this configuration overview as detailed as I could possibly make, so that after you watch this video you can with no issues configure the same setup like just going through this video. So this is what it's going to be about, but unfortunately this is going to be happening at the cost of questions and answers time. So I will be doing less of Q&A on this tap room, and we'll be doing more of configuration overview and speaking. Yeah, so what I want to do is to first of all, well, I'm going to open our VMware environment, which is right over here. So this is our host 1, host 2, host 3. We have it in a 3-node setup, but you can easily do the same thing with a 2-node one. So that doesn't matter. If we're going from the very beginning, let's imagine we just have 2 hosts over here and then nothing else. What we need before going into configuration is we need to make sure, if we go into network adapters, we need to make sure we have at least 2 network channels that we can dedicate to StarWind, and one of them is going to be doing synchronization for us. The other one will be doing iSCSI. The other one will be for iSCSI, and iSCSI traffic will be going through it. So as soon as we confirmed we have those and they can ping each other, we can move on to the next step. What next I will recommend you doing? So first thing you could do is you could set up a virtual machine yourself and then install StarWind on it and go from that. But the other thing you could do is you could download the Ovf template and just use it to have pre-configured StarWind virtual machine. Right now I will show you where you can have it. So this is our web page, and if you log in with your account and then go into your customer page over here, you can see that there is a Ovf template available to be downloaded, and you can go ahead and download it. After you have it downloaded, you need to unzip it, go into Resource Library. This is a place where we store all our guidances, and click OVF. Actually, let's just go through the technical papers and see. It should be there, because I've recently been looking through it. So, and then maybe specifying VMware here would make it easier to find as well. Vsphere. Yeah, OVF deployment guide. This is exactly what we're looking for. And if we go and download this PDF, going through this guidance, this is a very detailed step-by-step guidance which provides you with instructions on to how can you deploy our Ovf template. So this is nice and easy, and despite that I said we're gonna go like as deep and as detailed as possible, if I would do it like on a video that would take too long. So I'm not going to show you how to convert VHTX into VMDK and then deploy an OVF. I think each VMware like user done it, like deployed the OVF a couple of times in his life, so that's not going to be very hard. So after you deploy the OVF, what you will see is you'll see the StarWind 1 virtual machine, StarWind 2, like StarWind 3, 4, 5, that depends on how many times you deploy it. First thing you need to know is that we need one virtual machine that resides on host 1. So as you can see over here, this virtual machine is on host 231, so this one. And then the second virtual machine, if we go into summary, we'll see it's on the second host, so 232. Right now, I'm going to open an RDP session to this virtual machine using this IP address, and we'll drag the screen to my right monitor so you can see that RDP. Just opened it. Okay, and over here, there is our virtual machine. So it's not going to be as empty. Over here, you'll have two icons. One is going to be our license agreement, and the other one is going to be StarWind Management Console. If you don't have it for some reason, I don't know that reason, you can just click Windows, type in star, and open this thing. As soon as you click there, the console will open, or over here in the tray there is a button, StarWind Management, like an icon. If you double left click it, you will see our management console. So we also, we imagine this all is empty, so we're gonna go over everything once again. We also need to set up another virtual machine, but not here, over here, which I'm gonna be doing right now. So let's quickly double check what IP address does it have. And its IP address is 16.20.20. So 172.16.20.20. This IP address, of course, will be specified by you if you were deploying this from the very beginning. While RDP session is configuring itself, gave us an error. Okay, we'll try that with a DNS name later. Meanwhile, no, we won't try it later. We'll try it now. I'm sorry for that. Thought that's going to be better to have it opening like in front of you rather than pre-opening everything. And that might have been a mistake. Okay, gotten that machine through a DNS name. Small screen. Very small screen. Let's make it bigger. Yeah, this one is better. So, want to open StarWind over here as well. Over here in the tray, double left click and add server. First we want to add the local one. Then we want to add the VSN, let's say 3, sub VSN 3, but not with a dash. Yep, that's wrong. So SV sub VSN 3. That's exactly what it is. So have it over here. And it is all good. So first thing to do is to create your device, which is going to become data store in future. So we are imagining this is empty. We are creating device, and let's call it test data store. Let's make it at least 3 gigabytes because VMware would not allow us to add something less 2 point something. For a 3 gigabyte data store, we don't need any caching. I've been talking a lot about caching in my previous videos, so I'm going to skip this and just create a storage. So there's our target, there's our image file. What we need to care about next is our networking. If you opened an Ovf template, you should have this networking already set up. And the way you set it up is you go into configuration, networking, and over here you see virtual switches. So we have a virtual machine, like a VMNIC physical one. We have a virtual machine port group. We assign like virtual machine networking to it and create a VM kernel for it. So let's imagine we are creating a new one. We click add networking, virtual machine. We click next. We assign any network channel we want, but for this one we won't assign, we will say no adapters, but we're imagining there is one and we're going to use it for synchronization. So we click next. We call it VM network sync. Then we click next. We create it. We see it on the very bottom, our new virtual switch. We go into properties. We click add. We select VM kernel. We click next. We say VM kernel sync. We can assign it to use for vMotion, fault tolerance logging, use the support group for management, traffic, but I would recommend not setting these at the moment when you set up everything. I recommend setting this afterwards. So we click next, we give it IP address, for example this one. We provide it with a subnet mask. Click next and then finish. As soon as we have this guy set it up over here, what we can do is to go into settings of a virtual machine. Over here, you see we have network adapters. If we click add Ethernet adapter, next, and then over here we will be able to specify our adapter that we just created, and that's going to be our sync. E1000 driver we would use if we have a physical network card that and its bandwidth is 1 gigabit or less. If we have a 10 gigabit network, we would always go with VMXNet3 adapter. And then we click next, finish, and that adapter gets added. We click OK, and VMware adds that adapter to the virtual machine. As soon as that happened, we go to our virtual machine, to this one, and then over here in adapter settings, we would see our new adapter appear. And what important about this, what we have to do is to go in its properties over here and specify the IP address that's going to be just like this one. So I've created 172.16.10.10. right? So this adapter should be in the same subnet, but should vary. So it should be different. So this will be the ending, like we have a 1010. This should be like a 1020 or a 10100 or 1011, something like that, in the same subnet but different IP address. So as soon as we figure out this part and we configured all the networking, we know what we are going to use for synchronization, what we're going to use for iSCSI. We create a device as we already did and then set up a replication for it. We go add replica, synchronous two-way replica. The host name we are looking at replicating is going to be sup vsn3. Whoops. Yep. Then we click next. We create new partner device. We select the same storage. We always want to double check whether it's the same. Yep. Test data store. There it is. Over here we select the synchronization channels, the one we just configured in the networking. So we are on the second one. 2 to 3 is 5020, and then I guess the 61. So let's go back and double check. 2 to 3, yep, 60. So we specified these two guys, and we specified management interface for Heartbeat. We click next, next, create, and our replication gets created. We see that this device is currently synchronizing. We see it appear on the other side. As soon as the synchronization process is finished, it is ready to become a real data store. So we see that the synchronization was finished. What we do is we go back to our Vsphere client. We go into storage adapters, and over here we have an iSCSI software adapter. What we do is we go into properties, dynamic discovery, and over here we type in iSCSI IP addresses that we configured for that for those virtual machines. Not synchronization ones, but iSCSI ones. Those should be segregated. So this is why we need at least two like physical networks. One is going to be used for synchronization, the other one is for iSCSI. Both of them should be passed to a virtual machine. Both of them should be configured in separate subnets. So as soon as we type in these IP address, you can do that by click add, type in IP address, you click OK. After you close this, it will ask you for a rescan. You click OK. Then it will do a rescan. As soon as rescan is finished, we will see our new device, the one that we just added over here. So this is our 3 GB LAN that we recently added. So what we want to do is to go into storage, click add storage, disk or LAN, and then over here we'll see our new device appear. There it is. We click on it, we click next, we click next one more time, we give it a name. Click next, we set it to maximum available space, or we can make the space custom, and then we finish. This goes through, and then we see we will as soon as this task is finished, we'll see this data store appear in our data stores pool. Let's click a quick refresh. Maybe that will help it. But the task is anyway not finished yet. While it is adding the data store though, since we have a bit of time, is there anything that wasn't clear to you so far in the configuration? If there is anything, feel free to ask that in the questions box. Well, there is a question from Dwight. He asks, you can't use jumbo frames on the heartbeat link. Why can't you? I can use jumbo frames on the heartbeat link, but I don't think that will make any sense because jumbo frames make your packages bigger and heartbeat is like basically, the traffic that's going through it is a simple ping, and ping does not require a huge package size. Ryan, that's a great question. So you choose to use a separate vSwitch for each NIC. Vmware says to create one switch with multiple NICs and assign them to separate to each Vim kernel, which is better. If you are using like directly attached storage, any other kind of SAN, and not SAN. So if you are not using SAN, then the way VMware says is better. But if we are talking about SAN, like virtual SAN, it's going to be always to have a separate virtual switch per each network card. And this is what in everybody's virtual SANs like guidances. So like Datacore, Nutanix, us, anybody has that in their guidance because this is the way it works better. Xavier asks a question. At this point, do you configure the NICs for the LAN? Yes, you do configure a management interface. You can see it right over here if we go back to our networking tab. So there is management. It's also a virtual switch. So yes, we do. For some reason, this host is thinking too much, but let's get back to your questions. Michael, yes, sure. This webinar will be available to watch again, and this is exactly why I'm doing this step by step, so that each single one of you, when you decide configuring something similar, could go to our website and watch through it and configure everything easily. As soon as everybody finishes their rescan and see new paths appear, I will maybe cancel this creation of a data store because it takes too long, and we'll try creating it on somebody else. But looks like all of them having a hard time to load their storage. Whoa. That's interesting. I believe I asked it to do too many tasks at the same time, and also the VMware client closed by itself. Cool. Let's go back to it and see what happened. Because it shouldn't act like this if you're setting up a system. That's for sure. Let's see. It now is having a hard time to even map the servers. Looks like something is going on to the vCenter appliance. Meanwhile, I can answer all your questions. Sorry. Albert asked a question about Mellanox card, but I'm not sure I understand it completely. Is there any chance you could rephrase your question so that I have a better clue of what exactly are you asking? That's too bad. I cannot finish this presentation. Looks like, yeah, it's, oh, okay. It's back. Great. Okay, there's our new data store. It successfully did add, even though it showed us many errors. And feels good, looks like. What needs to happen is everybody else should see it as well. To do that, let's try doing another rescan for those guys and hope everything goes well. So you're asking about the benefits of using pass-through cards in StarWind virtual machines. I'm not sure there are going to be any benefits because as far as we did the testing and as far as Vmware states, when comparing pass-through cards to like using any drivers such as E1000E or VMXNet 3 driver, would make no difference. Dwight asks a great question. Do we need more synchronization links with a larger HA image file? No, we don't need more synchronization links if you want to have a bigger HA image. Although if you want to have better performance in terms of synchronization or even iSCSI, because synchronization and iSCSI, those are things that work together all the time. You would want to have a better bandwidth on your synchronization link. What licenses we need to create this type of environment? I am unfortunately a technical guy, thus I have no information about licenses, and at the end of this video there will be all contacts of account managers on your screen. If you could ask them that question, they would definitely help you out. I guess you could do that with a trial license. No, I mean, I'm not guessing, I know you can do it. Ryan, each StarWind virtual machine resides on a local data store. So over here it says local, and this is where we have our StarWind virtual machine. The hosts just completed the rescan, and now we see this data store is available on all 3 hosts. And basically this is the end of the configuration. So each single one of your hosts has this data store. This data store is ready to have virtual machines running on it, and the very last thing you need to do is to go into settings of your cluster and turn on the Vsphere HA feature, which would let your virtual machines migrate whenever one host goes down. Well, this is basically it. So the configuration is that simple. The other things you could do is you could enable jumbo frames, but that's tweaking. That's not, like the configuration. So you could go ahead and enable jumbo frames over here. The MTU should be changed to 9000. Same thing you can do here. And then you should change the storage paths over here. If we go into properties, go manage paths, should change this to round robin, like this, so that both your networks are continuously active. And this should of course be done on each host. If we are like doing it on one, this has to be made on all of them. And there are also like many other tweaks performance wise that you can apply in VMware, but I have a video about VMware tweaks, so I'm not going to show them all during this one, since this one was about configuration. And Dwight asks about MPAO, and round robin is basically a multipathing policy which I just changed. So this is MPAO. Atif asks, where can I find this webinar later? On our website in resource library, there is a like videos line, and you can click on it and see all the videos available. All our webinars are there. Replicated between the storages of those servers. Where is that data store reside? That data store resides on SSD1, the local drive. So this is the local drive of this host. This is the local drive. Where is it? Here it is. This is the local drive of second host, and this is the local drive of third host. So what we do is we store an image file on this guy, store an image file on this guy, store an image file on this guy, and then replicate it across 3 hosts, make it highly available to everybody in this cluster, so that whenever you face a failure, the storage stays available, and this virtual machine has an opportunity to migrate to the other host and continue running. That's the whole point of this thing. Xavier asks a good question about hyperconverged appliance. So I hope I understood your question well. So in our hyperconverged appliance, we have 2 10 gigabit NICs and 4 1 gigabit NICs. And I guess you are asking about like the best usage of those. And what I would recommend is, well, 2 10 gigabit NICs are instantly dedicated to StarWind. So one is for synchronization, the other one is for iSCSI. One management link I would use as a heartbeat, then another management link I would use as a backup link for Veeam. Third management link I would use the purpose of virtual machine networking, and then fourth management link I would use as a spare live migration link. That's it, I think. Covered all of them. And yes, this was the end of the configuration, so it's really pretty straightforward. And then going back to our presentation, the next thing we are doing is questions and answers. And that I think is what we already done. How long webinar go? As soon as I finish it, then it finishes. And that also depends like on how many questions will you have, things like that. So there's no like a certain amount of time that this webinar should go or should like stop. There is one question. Do you have an equivalent video for Hyper-V? Yes, I do. I have loads of videos for Hyper-V and I have loads of videos for VMware. All of them are like some kind of same, but each one of them has its tiny trick. Some of them are showing more of a performance tweaks. The other one shows like device creation tweaks. Third one shows cluster. Fourth one shows like failover and how it's done and why is it done this way. What's the difference between one hypervisor and the other one? Things like that. So have many of those. You can again go to our resource library, select videos and watch through them. There are not only my videos, there are many guys from our company who are doing those videos. Another good question from Xavier. Does StarWind perform better on either platform, VMware or Hyper-V? No, we are identical on both according to our quality assurance tests. Now, where is StarWind resource library? I believe I did show that. Let me show you one more time. So you open your browser, you type in StarWind, right? This is where we want to go. And as soon as you are on our website, you go resources, resource library. So this is our resource library, and then over here, there is a thingy, like a box, near videos text. If you click there, you'll see all the videos we have, as well as my taproom for Hyper-V environment, right on the front page. Then you go to the second page, see another Hyperconverged for VMware, and on and on and on. There are many, 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 many of them here. The minimum requirements can also be found on our website. If you Google like StarWind minimal requirements, you'll get forwarded to that page. Is free and fully functional StarWind? No, StarWind free version is not fully functional, but it can be used in production, and you can set up a 2-node dedicated scenario on a free version and run it in production. But unfortunately, that is without support. Dwight asks, is there any additional considerations networking-wise for LSFS and deduplication? No, LSFS is a device, just like an image file, but it has its own like things, specifics, and purposes. But networking-wise, it doesn't require anything else. So the questions ended. And what I can tell you is thank you very much for coming. I really enjoy making these taproom videos. Hope you do enjoy as well, and I wish to see you all on my next taproom. And this is a page somebody was looking for regarding the licensing questions. So over here, you can see all the information you need to get the to get the licensing answers. Yep. Thank you guys very much as well, and I will talk to you on my next tab room, of course, if you will join it. Have a good one and have a great weekend. Bye bye, everybody.